And so this is how we start the conversation. You've seen the analysis, and now we're going to get into the facts of the matter and what our guests think about where we find ourselves currently as a people. Let me start with the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Murtala Mohammed. Good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to my
best friend.
Also, good morning to your viewing public, and of course, the good people of Tamale Central. I was watching the so-called analysis done by your analyst.
So-called analysis?
Yes, I will. And if
why so-called?
If you hadn't used the word analysis, I don't think that I would have wasted my time commenting on it. If I were the management of this state.
Okay, so right, Murtala.
Let me finish.
No, hold on. There's something I must do right before you go on.
Let me finish. I'll either have him fired or I will not pay him this month for engage in such amateurish analysis of figures.
What exactly was amateurish about it?
I'll tell you. Why? You are talking about doing analysis. If he was presenting the raw data, thank God I'm a researcher.
Okay, Murtala, just hold your horses. Let me just also introduce Dr. Dixon Kisi, Member of Parliament for Anyaso. Doc, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
And I know you differ in perspective to what Murtala is saying.
Fortunately so.
I mean, it is
okay.
You are talking
Murtala, let's do this. Let's not go after. I beg you. I'll let you go, but let's not go after personalities. The young man was merely giving us a trend analysis, and I'm seeing the same data exactly saying in terms of Transparency International. So what exactly is your problem?
It is unfair for you to say I am going after him. I am not going.
No, but you are saying things about his being expelled and all of that. I don't think that is fair.
If he wasn't doing analysis, I wouldn't have said anything. If you do a research work, let's take even a thesis that you are working on. You have chapters, but there's a chapter that you do analysis and conclusion, isn't it? That one you are expected to present both sides and explain why this one is this one is this.
Right.
You can't come and you tell us that this year was this, and you strike average, and by that you come to that work conclusion, and therefore President Mohammed...
Which conclusion is based on the facts and the figures?
I'll tell you, and therefore President Mohammed...
Which conclusion you are seeing on your screen is based on the facts and the figures?
I'm coming.
Right.
You said analysis. And if you are doing analysis, you would have to give reasons why this is this, this is this, so that people, when they even take the analysis, they would have an appreciation
so let me,
of why and how...
Let me explain this to you, if I may. Can I explain this to you? We gave you the trend. We're doing the analysis now. I'm going to, together with you, do the analysis. Is that okay?
So then
it was the trend that we painted. So we're doing the analysis.
It is fair I raise questions about the analysis he did, which I consider. Right. I believe most of the people who are watching this to be whack, to be very honest with you.
So what exactly?
Let me just finish.
What exactly is wrong with it?
Exactly. When you are, he concluded by saying that what it means is that President Mahama added -2. And President Nanado didn't add anything at all. That is completely misleading.
How so?
Yeah, good. You are looking about the same period of time. President Mahama from 2012 to 2016, that is a period of 4 years. President Nanado from 2017 to 2021, actually a period of 4 years. Now you are looking at how we have performed in terms of our fight against corruption. Now you yourself, you've indicated in your presentation that yes, the highest we have ever scored in Ghana, at least in the Fourth Republic, was under President Mahama, which was in 2014, where we had 48. Right. I'm not saying that praise President Mahama for scoring 48. There could be reasons why we scored 48. We should all be very happy. Now, when you have the trend that decrease after the 48, mind you, he took it from 45 to 48. Right. There was an increase. That is 45, 46, 48. And
there was a 3 percentage point increase.
I'm just talking of the yearly increase. I don't want to even look at the percentage increase. Now, you are talking about 2015, it decreased to 47, and then 2016, it decreased to 43. Now, if I am asked to do analysis, and I say, yes, there has been a decrease from 48 in 2014 to 43 in 2016. If I'm doing proper analysis, I'll give reasons why I think that there was that decrease. Is it that we lost in terms
So it's not that the figures are incorrect, it is the fact that you feel we should give further explanation. But as I have given you opportunity, as I have made clear to you, that is why we're here sitting down to do this.
That's why more so when you had a consistent increase, from 45, 46, 48, and then you have 2 years which reduced from...
And then you have a consistent decrease as well.
Yes.
48 to 47 to 43.
You're looking at the rate of the consistency in terms of the increase and then the decrease. 2000, 45, 46, 48. Then you had a reduction in 48 to 47 and 43. That is a period of just 2 years that you had this decrease. Now, if I'm giving analysis, I would give reasons why I think that there was an increase from 45 to 48. And I'll give reasons why I think that there was a decrease from 48 to 47.
Do you find it worrying? Let me finish. No. You're making a point. So on that same bit, since you're talking about
I'm driving
marginal decreases, you are looking at 48. 48. Fine. You're looking at 48 in 2014. And by the time you're handing over in 2016, it has come down by 5 points to 43.
I don't want you to drive me to that.
Why not?
Allow me to finish. I was making a point.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm saying that the consistency of the increase, if I am asked to do analysis, an intellectual analysis, I will tell you and I will provide possible reasons why there was that consistency in increasing in terms of our performance. Now, if within a period of 2 years we had a reduction, then I should be able to provide reasons why I think that there have been that reduction. Juxtaposing that with 2017 to 2021.
Right.
Now, if you have 43, which decreased to 40, then from there we had 41. It decreased to 41. The following year,
stayed at 41.
The following year 41. The following year 41. And now you had a marginal increase in 2020
of 2 percentage points to 43.
Year, so within the period of 4 years of President Nana-Addo, we have had, did we go or did we come? A decrease from to 41, the same year we virtually didn't do anything. What measures were put in place? And now you have 43. The question is, more so when that particular president won the elections at the back of corruption, featuring tremendously in the campaign. Mind you, the issue of corruption, played more than 60% role in the MPP's winning elections in 2016.
By which metric are you saying that?
It is very clear.
I have not seen any metric that corroborates what you say. There are metrics that say, yes, there was corruption, but the 60%, there's no metric to support that.
Of course, you may be right, but I'm saying that there has never been a change in government in this country. Whether through the ballot or through the bullet, the corruption is not used as a justification.
Right.
There has never.
Okay.
And in fact, it played significantly in these elections.
Okay. So I want you to wrap on this point so we move on. So
the interruptions are just too many.
No, we have to move.
You have members of parliament.
Right.
Who think, in fact, and I will just take the 2017 financial statement of the NPP, juxtapose that with the 2016 manifesto. In fact, 2017 financial statement, every single paragraph was pregnant with corruption and how they were going to fight corruption. Juxtapose that with the 2016. Now, the interesting thing is that the subsequent financial statement presented by this government in Parliament, corruption is virtually not mentioned. I'm saying that corruption, and compare that also with the 2016 manifesto and the 2020 manifesto.
Right.
The alacrity with which the MPP campaigned with fighting corruption in 2016 and what they said about corruption in 2020, there's a class difference. So it tells you that they knew they were prosecuting the 2016 elections at the back of allegations of corruption. So
you think they had dubious intent? They were not being honest?
And it is very clear.
Okay.
That is why if you take
the
financial statement, corruption is not even mentioned.
Hold your horses. Dr. Dixon, I want you to respond to that. But as an ordinary citizen, from where he leaves off, and looking at the different budgets that have hit us from 2016, I cannot but to some level agree with him on the last point, not on the initial point, but on the last point. Corruption seems to have gradually, Nicodemously gone out of your budget statements and real talk. All of a sudden, corruption is not on the radar. What's happening?
Please, assessment of corruption is not based on budgets. Let's be mindful of that. Projections,
but how to deal with it factors into a budget. No, do you agree with me or not?
Please.
How to deal with it? Does it factor into a budget?
I haven't heard anywhere in literature where your budget is your measure of corruption in the country.
I am asking you a question. How to deal with corruption and how much it will cost. Does it feature in a budget or not?
You can make statements about it, but your statements will not be... for instance, if Mahama should come preach that he'll be the most non-corrupt president, I will not measure him by his words, but by his actions. And clearly, as I look at this graph, they say book no lie. And these are indices based on all the various sentiments in the country and all the various allegations in the country, and somebody has come and said that your average, Mahama's government's average, is bigger than Nanado's government's average.
At the lowest.
So per this chart, we are vilified.
You're vilified in which sense?
In the sense that, listen, all things being equal, our average, quote unquote, is less than their government. All things being equal. And that is what we're seeing from the graph. And
someone else will tell you very quickly. Someone else will tell you, and since you're going that way, someone else will tell you that the lowest score of the NDC in 2016 is your highest score. No. The best you've done so far, 43.
Reality dawned on them when they were nearing the end. I think that's what it is. They had been so corrupt in the beginning, as you can see, 45, 46, 48, 47. And then reality dawned on them that, hey, we need to change our ways. And then they came to 43. Now, my point here is that if Nanado's government scored higher than their lowest, then I would have said, at least, as Sarkodie says, maintain. Nananye Bikran, he's maintained. No, I mean, let's be very frank with ourselves. Now, one of the key things I wanted to share with our viewers today is that pure misunderstanding of public accounts, when they state that, government has spent so much.
I serve in the same committee.
Yes, and
So don't land on muddy waters.
You know that.
But allow him to.
I mean, unfortunately, when they quote these figures, it is not you and I who that money comes to. True or false?
I'm just saying, don't.
No. Let's agree on that.
I'm not going to respond to you.
So the beauty of it is that civil servants, unfortunately, when they mismanage, him and I sometimes hide behind that and make damning allegations that, the government has spent this. Now, what pains me the most...
What exactly do you mean when you say when civil servants misbehave? It's all part of the workings of government. So why are you trying to detach?
Let me state a few things because of my medical background.
Right.
When you're working and you take medical leave and you fail to provide the necessary documentation, it is tagged as unearned salary.
Right.
And all the many employees of government who fail to submit proper documentations for their leave, that money is summed up in the monies they claim that people have chopped. And these are all people who retire and fail to get their salary stopped. So somebody might be retired and gets paid for about 6 months before whatever paperwork arrives. And these are failures in the system, not deliberate by politicians. And I really think that we need to do ourselves a service of truthfulness to the Ghanaian people, be it my government or the opposition. Let's come clean. Those kinds of allegations won't help us.
Okay.
And that is why some of these indices, I think, and I've always been crying these days because some of the damning allegations will affect our finances in terms of gaining foreign investments into our country.
Why should we say that if it is white or black, we will not say it because it will not inure to the benefit of our economy? Whatever happened to truth?
What I'm saying is that let's be truthful. Let's don't make allegations when we know, in principle, that these allegations are false.
Let me ask you.
You understand?
This.
Yeah.
The data from the CPI. These are perceptions, yes, but they are not allegations. Hold on.
Okay.
How do you react to the 2021 CPI? Coming from the standpoint of, look, let me take off my hat as a presenter. As an ordinary Ghanaian, I'm worried about the fact that, yes, 1998 to 1999, before 2000, we were scoring in the 30s. After that, we started scoring in the 40s, thereabouts. We have not, as a country, been able to score past 48. That is the highest. We've not been able to reach the metric of 50, which most countries that have advanced in the last decade or two have gone past. We are still stagnant. Does that make you happy?
Well, I'm unhappy, but there's one thing. As population increases, some of these perceptions will also be in that same quantum. It's just the nature of life and statistics. Now, let me add that the police guy taking something on the street or the government employee who wants something to push the paper. These are all parts of our problems. So it is not necessarily a governmental administrative problem alone.
It is.
It is not. And until our behaviors in all the various sectors change. I mean, for instance, you want fertilizer, a farmer submits the appropriate documentation, somebody somewhere sitting in the office demands that, Charlie, give me some 500 oils. And these are the problems that is eating us as a country. And Murtala and myself have to admit that, listen, it is not the 275 politicians or the 500 politicians in this country that leads us to this index.
But they contribute.
And it is important that we...
90% is done by politicians.
And this is the problem we have.
The level of political corruption in this
so isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that you have your fellow politicians saying that 90... No, hold on. Don't be too eager to make a point.
Okay.
And I'll give
that 90% of it comes from you guys, the politicians. And I don't know why. Yesterday, in my discourse with Oliver Barker-Vomawo, he made mention of this point, that you in the political class, you like to push the buck, but in the end, forget whatever is happening on the street and all of that. It starts with you, doesn't it?
I'm not pushing the buck here. I'm saying that reality is that we're all into this.
So
Okay.
in essence, you're sticking to what President Kufuor said some time back, former president,
which is
that corruption started since the day of Adam. So in other words, you're saying that we are not going to win this fight. We should even give up.
I'm
Is
not
that not what
saying,
you're saying?
I'm saying that we all need to change our ways. Listen, when a customs officer, which beautifully former president, late Atta Mills, went to customs, you saw what happened. He wept literally because he questioned how a customs officer within 6 months of assumption of office or a certain position can build 4 or 5 houses. That is how our indices go up. And Murtala has to admit that these are injurious to the country.
Well,
and he's not immune to it. I'm not immune to it.
Right.
My prayer is that every Ghanaian, we ought to change our ways.
Okay, thank you.
To bring the indices down.
Right. But
Nana Akufo-Addo has done well.
Right.
Minimally by maintaining us at some average level below what's the NDC administration.
I prefer though, yes, numbers if the fish or whatever will get spoiled, it will be from the head.
That is the local adage.
But let me just
we will change our ways.
Bryce Jan, you say you're watching us from Tripoli in Libya. Thank you so much for doing the watching. I also saw Prof. Azza at a point doing the watching. Thank you all for joining us. I know you want to respond to him. As you respond to him, also add what your overarching view is of the 2021 CPI and why you think, and I know you think, that their administration is faring worse than the NDC. Why you think so?
He just said it. He said they are maintaining. Let me inform him. You are not maintaining. You reduced before you attempted to maintain. You took it at 43. You reduced it to 40. Then you subtly increase by 1%, 41, and then you are going back to 43. You took it.
I mean,
hold on.
2020.
Hold on, please.
The elections behind.
I tried not to get him to heckle you. So
the reason why I was challenging the analysis done by your presenter, 2016, and that's why I was trying to make the point forcefully, that the MPP prosecuted their campaign in 2016 at the back of corruption. Tell me one single minister and agency that they didn't accuse for engaging in corruption. Every single minister was accused for being corrupt. And that explained why we had to move from 47 to 43 in 2016. When they came to power, and I'll give you a classical example. In fact, they held a press conference and accused Dr. Punit. The press conference was addressed by the current minister for Agric. He was present. For chopping, and if I can use that word, $400 million. $400 million at a press conference. In court, they didn't see the need to talk about $400 million. You had Eseloso and Co who came to Parliament with placards, thieves. Now, all the allegations they made against President Mahama and his appointees and all of us, they did not have a scintilla of evidence. They accused President Mahama for building hotels in Dubai. And the corruption index is anchored on perception. Now, all those perceptions informed why we had to come down from 47 to 43. And this is what I was expecting. Now, if I want to go by his argument, in 2020 we're in an election year. It's understandable. Corruption was again featured in the campaign of NDC and civil society organization. How about 2018? How about 2019? Hold on. You took it 43. You had the support of the people of this country in 2017. You had the support of the people of this country in 2017 because you won the elections at the back of allegations of corruption against NDC. Yet in 2017, you reduced it from 43 to 40. And in fact, you could only increase it marginally in 2018 to 41, 49. Now, I will grant you that in 2020, when elections, corruption featured very well. How about 2017? How about 2018? How about 2019? Now you tell me that maintain. Then why did we even vote for President Manado in the first?
I said barest minimum.
I said, what barest minimum? You haven't maintained. If you took something from 43,
have we gone higher than your values?
Please, no.
Have we gone higher than
you
your
can? No, I'm saying our lowest is your highest.
But isn't that a better performance?
No, it's not.
So I find it interesting. The two of you, representing the two major parties in our country, you are fighting over failure.
No, not failure.
Both of you are scoring below 50.
No.
You are not doing well on the index, and you are fighting over who has marginally gained in terms of failure.
Don't push this to be an agenda for your station.
It is not an agenda.
I am not fighting.
No. I take exception to that.
I'm sorry. I said don't push this to be an issue. I am not fighting over marginal increase or decrease. We are doing analysis, and he is saying that they are maintaining. Governments are voted into power. Please. Governments are given the mandate to govern so that things will improve. Now, if you accuse the NDC for being corrupt, and for which reason we scored 43, the least the people of this country expect from you is to increase it to 48, 49 to 50, as he said. Now, you took it at 43. And now, hold on. Your argument is that, yes, the 2020, 2021, we scored 43 because we were in an election. I'll grant you that. Now, then grant me that in 2016, the allegations of corruption against the NDC had never been seen in the democratic governance of this country.
Oh, no.
Since the Fourth Republic. I'm being honest with you.
Hold it.
Since the Fourth Republic. I'm saying, show me one single minister who was not accused without a scintilla of evidence. Now, I will grant you 2020. How about 2017? How about 2018? How about 2019? In fact, in 2017, you were still enjoying the goodwill as someone who was coming to fight corruption. And that is why I was making reference to the budget statement. Right. Interestingly, he's telling me that fighting corruption is not in budget statement. That's not true. That is not true. You fight corruption with your budget. Because fighting corruption comes with a cost. Fighting corruption, it comes with a cost. Now, if you look at the 2017 budget, you indicated monies you are allocating for agencies, anti-corruption agencies. The amount of money you are going to spend in fighting corruption, you indicated that in the budget, and how you are going to do about it. And that is why I challenge you. Take the 2017 financial statement. And by the way, I made this statement even on the floor of Parliament. Every single paragraph in that statement, they talked about how they fight corruption. So what it means is that in every ministry and agency, they accuse the NDC for engaging in corrupt acts. This is how we are going to fight corruption. And then 2018, they started moving away from the word. In fact, the 2022 budget, the word corruption is mentioned 2 times. And in fact, it is not mentioned as to how they will fight. Can I finish? No. It means that you do not attach seriousness to fighting it.
Look at the money spent.
If you were going to budget, for example, for the office, hold on, for the office of the special prosecutor.
It's increased.
Hold on. To tackle corruption.
It has increased.
It would feature in your budget.
It has increased.
Would it feature in your budget or not?
No.
And it is there. And he has received.
Don't mislead.
Because what he's telling me is that
can I finish?
I can ascribe a lot of money to SP, and because of that.
Hold on. Can I finish?
But at least
it doesn't work that way.
Seeing some. I'm just merely.
There's been an increase.
It would feature in your budget.
There's been an increase.
Can I finish? You see,
there's been a powerful increase.
Hold it.
President Mahama had the courage to prosecute his appointees
when they did wrong.
I'm saying hold on. Corruption is based on perception. You need to investigate and possibly prosecute to establish whether that perception of corruption is real or not. You don't have the courage to do that.
Quick one, hold it. Have you done saying that you can ascribe to? There's the issue of, what's the gentleman's name?
Abu Gapele.
Abu Gapele.
Not only national service.
Do you have any that, I mean, on this issue, sometimes I hear the banter between MPP and NDC. Do you have any? I've heard of so many allegations and so many investigations, the PPA boss and all of that. Do you have any to show?
So many that have not been substantiated. And you know, listen.
So for you, the plethora of cases, none.
No. I mean, listen.
How about the visa?
No, please let him answer.
The president has been very clear that he subjected all of these to the necessary reviews, and so far,
which review?
A lot of them have been exonerated.
Who exonerated?
Okay, let me cite.
Just let him make his point, and then you can come up with follow-ups.
Let me cite one very interesting one. I mean, for instance, West Wagon, when the issue happened, some George and Co made so many damning allegations. This was given a public hearing.
We're talking of corruption. It had nothing to do.
If we don't allow him to speak, we'll not get the thrust of what he said.
When we go to the travel arrangements which he talked about, as we speak, I believe it was Pius.
Yes.
Exonerated.
Who exonerated?
And per the committee that handled, and I'm sure the documents are available.
There's no in the document.
You know, so when you sit here,
if it has to do with the Australian visa scandal and some of the things we've seen from the sports ministry, some of them till today we don't have proper closure on them. Are you aware of that?
Well,
we don't even know the details of spending in some instances, some tournaments we've participated in. Do you find that apt?
As for sports tournaments, I mean, it's been the norm, although not right. But
did you just say it's been the norm?
In terms of how much is spent per some of these tournaments, it's been like we never know specifically. I mean, somebody carried money from here to what country did you carry money to, please?
I've never carried
money.
You're talking of 2014 Brazil?
Yeah.
Airlifting money.
And all of these things.
But at least then we knew how much.
I'm not saying the norm is right.
Right.
But as in how it was spent, we usually don't have in total.
Do you think we should do something about that? Because don't you find it problematic?
We ought to.
If you, as in your position, if someone said that, no, medically we're going to spend this money, but you can't even account for the $1, one cedi, do you think it's okay?
We ought to. That smokescreen has to be demystified. We ought to.
Right.
But what I'm trying to get at, and so that we can come to a closure here, listen.
Won't come to a closure.
Corruption is not good, whether in NDC time or in MPP time. That is my statement. Now, the key thing is that we have a president who has been all about making sure that the state coffers are not misused, misappropriated.
Just last year, we heard from the Auditor General telling us that wastage in the system was 12 billion cedis.
And that is where I was coming with Mutala that, listen, let's be truthful to the Ghanaian people. That 12 billion, 15 billion is not necessarily monies in politicians' pockets.
Oh, it is. I'll tell you why.
Oh, Mutala, we've been on this panel.
No, I'll tell you why.
Before.
So you wrap up, and he will explain to us why he thinks the way he does.
We have actually made a special request to finance to come out with the readjustments.
The finance ministry.
I mean, the Auditor General really is working with the finance ministry because there's been findings when we sat and did the reviews, people's receipts that they had, vouchers they had not presented, that have been presented and all these things. You don't sit here and pretend that you are not aware that we've audited and corrected some things so that the 15 billion will be far much less than what we perceived initially. And what we are asking is that per the checks and balances we did during our tour, I mean, we had to go through many institutions to make sure that some of the mistakes were corrected. Now that the mistakes have been corrected, we need Auditor General to come out with the actual numbers.
So in other words, you want a revised figure, which you feel would be lower.
Much appropriate,
but
at least.
Still have a lot of billions of money that could have been put into good purpose, which could have maybe kept us from even instituting an e-levy. You know that?
I would now.
No, don't worry. We'll get into that.
Let me add one key thing. For instance, and he knows very well that when ECG owes government, it is captured in this.
Right.
And these are monies that really are fungible. So it is not necessarily all those that are monies spent.
Right.
True or false?
No, answer
True
me
or
point,
false?
I'll make my point anyway.
You know, so I beg,
True and
I beg that perception that Auditor General's report should be taken wholly and that shouldn't be the case. We need to have the revised numbers, and I really think that moving forward, Auditor General needs to really do heavy homework before presenting these numbers, because sometimes on the day of presentation,
are you suggesting that the Auditor General's department is not?
I said
doing the right thing
on the day of presentation, because he knows very well that sometimes the accountants may have already presented the appropriate explanation, yet Auditor General still presents it. And I really think that it's double the work we do. It's very unnecessary when the appropriate documentations have been provided and verified. More importantly, verified.
Okay.
So all the verified documentations should help Auditor General reduce their numbers before they present this gargantuan number, which is blowing people's minds.
Do come in with your...
Be truthful with the committee work. Be truthful with the committee work.
With your quick rebuttals, and then we'll move on to how we can actually address this.
You see, the reason why I retorted when he said that, no, we shouldn't just attribute it to politicians. Every ministry and agency is under a minister or appointee of government. And those who do not fall under ministries and agencies, they fall directly under the office of the president. It is the responsibility of the political appointees. When we talk of political or politicians, we are not limiting it to just ministers and MPs. Political appointees have a moral duty and a responsibility. Now, if you are a political appointee and there is so much corruption under your watch, you should be held responsible. You should. I agree with him that yes, you have civil servants, public servants who also engage in corrupt acts, but some politicians are fantastically corrupt. A classical example you mentioned about the visa racketeering thing. We live in this country. Nobody is demanding to know which committee investigated Pius and where is the report of that investigation. You see, they are not even smart when they want to deceive the people of this country. The president...
We're not smart like
yes, you are not. When you even want to lie.
We're not smart like
yes, you are not even smart when you want to lie.
Agreed.
The president announced that they had commissioned or asked a committee to investigate the matter. They gave the deadline, timelines within which the committee is expected to submit their report. Several weeks before the deadline, the president was supposed to travel to Volta region and announce out of nowhere that Pius has been exonerated. We haven't forgotten. The thing about Pius's act, which for me is even dangerous, that there is a criminal element of it, criminal element of deceit of another foreign state. This gentleman was reported to by his own boss.
Take it to court.
Now, the letter that was written to the Australian High Commission, introducing these people as journalists, representing media houses, how do we know whether you're not? Hold on.
Truly were
that letter was written by Pius.
The names truly.
That letter was written by Pius to the Australian High Commission, introducing people who were not journalists as journalists. This was a deceit of another foreign state by a government through an appointee, of that government. So the point we are simply making is that it is not. Oh,
let me help him. The misrepresentation. No.
I don't think he needs your help. I don't think he needs your help. Let him laugh.
He's not.
I didn't allow him to interject.
Oh, just one thing. I beg you. The misrepresentation was the people, not the letter. So Pius stated that you were going, and unfortunately, they wronged you.
Please.
So the letter,
I pardon
in spirit, is truthful.
Please, it's not true.
But some people had passports representing.
You are messing up yourself the more.
No, that is what happened.
I have been in that position.
Please explain, Muta.
I have been in that position as a deputy minister. When you write a letter, you submit the letter with the passports of individuals who are going there for the visa. And in fact, when the visa, and they go individually, they go there as a team leading them. When the visas are issued, they don't call them individual to give to them. They hand over the visas to you. This gentleman,
so no biometrics are done.
Please, I'm saying all those things are done at the embassy. When the visas are issued, they hand them over to the ministry. These gentlemen were caught in Australia, not in Ghana. Don't sit here and put you are in a deep hole. Instead of you trying to come out, you are even digging the more. What happened was a deceit of another foreign state Because the Australian High Commission is the representative of the Australian government in Ghana. Now you have a government that deceived that government through impersonation. Impersonation is a crime under our criminal codes in this country. Nobody is interested in that. Let's find out from the Australian High Commission who signed the letter introducing those people to the Australian High Commission as journalists.
So the point basically is this administration is even sheltering people who are corrupt.
Look,
is that the point
President Nanado is fighting anybody who is fighting corruption. And I have said, and I agree with you, when you said that President Kufuor said corruption started from Adam, it's true. The difference between President Nanado and President Kufuor, President Rawlings, President Mills, President Mama, is that President Nanado has perfected corruption. In fact, he has demonstrated repeatedly that anybody who is accused for corruption under his government is going to be protected. And you see, that is why the last time when I said you're not happy, I said that the Flagstaff House has become the citadel for corruption, and they protect anybody.
That's your perception.
It's a fact. It's a fact.
The numbers.
He asks you, who have you prosecuted? And he said it's perception.
The numbers.
All the allegations against Abuga Pele and co. were allegations based on people's perception. It ought to be investigated. When we investigate and prosecute, the only body that has the capacity to determine whether there was indeed corruption or a corrupt act perpetrated is the court. Now, if you do not go to court, you are unwilling to go to court. How do you establish that? You see, I've had the opportunity to serve in government.
And somebody be unwilling to go to court?
I've had the opportunity.
Take me to court?
It is the responsibility of government to take you to court, and they do so after investigation.
Now, you are not even.
Hold on, I'm saying you are not even investigating. Look, let's admit that yes, there are people who are corrupt. Some journalists are also very corrupt. There are journalists in this country who drive the. It's true. Who drive? Look, there are journalists in this country who drive the best cars, who live in the most expensive areas in Accra. What is their means of their financial position?
But you know, per the law, he who alleges must prove. You can't just look at. I think you may have a point, but you can't just look at someone and say, oh, because the person is doing this, you don't know what the person's other sources of income
Afrobarometer in this country has indicated that corruption permeates through the fabrics of Ghana, including journalists, including the judiciary. Corruption everywhere. So if you tell me that, and I am the
now he's coming to what I was saying.
Hold on, can I finish?
Isn't he?
No, listen, I'm saying that corruption is everywhere, but I'm saying that those who have the responsibility to ensure that we protect this corruption are we, the politicians.
Right.
Because I said
I like the way you are accepting, this responsibility.
Because you see, that's the point.
And I'm hoping, and mind you, Murtala, these words you're uttering, hold on for me. These words you're uttering today, should a future NDC administration come to power, we shall hold you to them.
Can I make this point?
And you have made it clear here today that 90% of the corruption is from
the politicians. That is his claim.
Can I make this point? I'm saying that there's corruption everywhere.
Right.
But the responsibility of the political appointees who protect the public purse, if you are a political appointee and you have failed to ensure that those who work under you are not corrupt, you must be held responsible.
Good.
And that is why I said that every ministry,
please wrap
every agency,
in 30 seconds.
and also if you either fall, if it is public sector, is either under a ministry, or those who do not fall under the ministries fall under the office of what? Of the government machinery. It is the responsibility. But you see, I've had the opportunity to have served in government. And I can say here that me, Murtala, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, I'm not corrupt.
Good.
Right.
I have never been, and I will never be.
Okay.
For the avoidance of doubt.
Good.
Trace my history from University of
I think you've walked me through this.
So I'm saying that let's begin to admit as politicians that yes, almost every sector of our economy is corrupt. But we have a moral duty.
We have to move on. No, I have to move on to other things. But on the back of what he just said, it just came to mind, Dr. Dixon. Can you say same? Can you, in front
that
of
I'm not corrupt?
Yes. Can you openly?
Until he gets appointment in government, he can't see it.
This beautiful question reminds me of President Mahama when he was asked if he's been corrupt.
No, I'm asking you. Forget about President Mahama. I'm asking you.
He said, "Me as human or me as."
Oh yes. That
was one of the highlights of, his.
So you, Dr. Dixon, are you corrupt? Have you ever been corrupt?
When you were working as a doctor.
Hold on.
I'm not corrupt.
You are not?
I'm not corrupt.
Are you sure?
It took you quite some time to get into
I have to be truthful, and I have to assess myself. Fortunately, as he's saying, I haven't been given any such appointment where I can demonstrate or even test.
But from where you sit, I mean, member of parliament and all of that.
I am not corrupt.
You see things, don't you?
And I'm very objective in my assessment. And what is truthful today, in summary of this, is that the old man, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has scored, favorably.
Let's get back to that score. Let's quickly get back to that score. Hold on, gentlemen.
Better, right. But at least
he's the most corrupt leader we've
our administration has not performed so bad compared to.
Why?
So in a decade, hold on for me. In a period of a decade, someone's worst is your best. And come to hold on. Come to think of it, you're both failing, yes, but a score difference is always better. A 44 is always better than a 43. A 45 is always better than a 44. A 48 definitely is better than your highest of 43. Do you admit that or not?
Well, agreed.
So technically, in that respect, they are fared better than you guys are.
But what it is, in truthfulness, is that we haven't had this up and downs. As in per our government, we've at least, and I use the same word.
You have up and down.
I've used the same word. Oh, 40, not 5 points.
So the fluctuation is fine. Let's move past these little points that both of you seem to.
But the sum is what matters. What's the sum? What's the sum?
What sum?
And the sum of what?
-3.
What you see that?
Okay, hold on. Let's not do this.
You can't agree in sum.
The point to be made is that yes, you can look at mean figures, you can look at median figures, but you can also look at the fact that which score is the best. 2014. In the last 2 years, you scored 43, and that is not. In fact, within the trajectory, your 40 is the lowest, and that's something to take.
They have had the lowest.
But let me find out from both of you. From both of you, the question is the way forward.
Yeah,
we are talking a lot. If you look at the recent CPI, they talk about the fact that your own political party financing. The Constitution talks about that. We've never really dealt with that issue properly. How political parties are financed in the country. You're campaigning. I think it was years ago when at one of your congresses we had, was it the EI or something, spewing a whole lot of the things that happened in terms of money and billboards and all of that. Look, in the last 10 years, some countries that have made significant gains on the CPI in Africa.
Apparently.
In Africa. Not apparently. This is from Transparency International.
Okay.
You have Angola.
Okay.
You have the Ivory Coast. You have Ethiopia. You have, let me look at the other. You have Senegal. You have the Seychelles, which is now the topmost in Africa. If you go back and look at where they came from, Tanzania is in there. We seem to be slipping and just bantering about, oh, I gained this and you lost that. How do we get out of this flux?
Can I answer?
How do we get out of it?
Let me go first.
Start.
I really think that the venom has to be reduced. And what I say by venom...
Venom from where?
From the opposition. Be it when I'm in government, them, or when they are in government, me. The venom, the PhDs, as we call it, pull-me-downs, is becoming too much. And I really think that unfounded allegations, it's about time that people are taken to court when they make damning statements. Listen, 2 weeks ago, somebody did a false Facebook account of me, and I arrested, somebody claiming that I had taken money from her. Because this is how things work out in this country. People make claims and they go free. I think it's about time, and he should side with me on this, that when somebody makes an allegation and it's unfounded, the person should be fined, the person should be taken through some painful experience so that people stop making damning allegations. And until both parties try as much as possible to be, fair in terms of the statements we make, these indices, as much as we are wishing to work hard, will not be improved.
So you do agree that there is some diabolical or diabolism between the two of you.
Too much.
But it's not helping
and
matters.
We need to stop. Let me cite in one breath. When Nana Addo chose the SP, the whole NDC...
Which one? Martin Amidu
Martin,
or...
When he chose Martin...
Isi Ajabi?
When he chose Martin, the whole NDC machinery was not in support.
That's not true.
And people were making all kinds of claims about Martin. Now, towards the end, when Martin made another allegation against the president, come and see. The whole NDC machinery now turned.
That is not true.
And said that, yes, Martin is right, and that his mind is clear, as clear as anybody can be. And I have evidence of your capus, when I say your capus, your party leadership, coming out strong against Martin in the early stages when he was appointed, and then flipping towards the end. And these are the venoms I'm talking about. Let's be truthful in hard times and truthful in good times.
Okay. So that's how we address the problem.
It will address it.
How about you, Murtala? He's talking about the fact that politically you must be honest. We must wrap in about 2 minutes, so make it very brief.
Unfortunately, he's not being honest in this matter. And that's the honesty corruption we're talking about. He's not even being honest. The NDC as a matter of fact, our founder supported the appointment of Martin. The NDC never issued a statement condemning that.
So point well made. That has been cleared. You've cleared
me, Murtala, I was against him, and I'm still against him, and I have never praised him for whatever he was doing. I never. And I've said that even on your platform. You see, all the countries you have mentioned, countries that are doing well in their fight against corruption, look at the leaders. It takes the political will of a leader, the political authority to fight corruption. Look at those leaders, their posture, their willingness. How many of them have appointed about 40, 50 family members in their government? How many of them?
Right.
How many of them have demonstrated that they are willing to call the odds as far as...
nepotism index.
Please let him wrap.
You see, that is why I say you've mentioned those countries. You're viewing public. You look at the leaders. When you have a leader like the leader we have today, you can fight corruption. Look, if I have my daughter who serves in my government, for example, or my brother, or my sister, or my girlfriend, or my whatever appointed ambassadors, and they get corrupt, what will I do? It takes the political will to fight corruption. It takes the will that was demonstrated by President Mahama, prosecuting his own brothers.
And that is not there.
That is not there. You look, if you look at
his own brothers.
Yes.
So Mahama's presidency had.
Do you
families.
know the relationship? No,
I'm asking.
I'm saying that when I say brother,
you are sort of being.
When I say brother,
conflicting here.
When I say brother, Abu Gapeli and President Mahama have been childhood friends. They have been together for a very, very long time. That's his brother. Yet, if President Mahama could disregard all these things and prosecute somebody because there were allegations made against that person.
So in conclusion,
the National Service scandal.
Right.
It was the president who instructed.
Murtala, in conclusion, he says we should be honest, even as a political class. What else do we do?
We should be honest. Yeah, he is not even demonstrating that honesty here. The political will, that is what matters.
Right.
The will to prosecute anybody who engages in corrupt act by the appointing authority.
Okay.
We have corruption among everybody, but the people who must take the lead in fighting this canker is the political authority, the political appointees, myself and you. If we have the opportunity to be appointed in any government, we have a moral duty and a responsibility. Look, if you go to the ministries, the public servants, the civil servants, they will come to you. They come to you to tell you how you can do ABCD. If the minister doesn't give the approval, the chief director cannot sanction it. If the minister doesn't give the approval, the accountant at the ministry cannot do that. Now you engage in corrupt act, and then when they say that politicians should take the blame, I say, oh no, civil servants should take the blame.
So this is how we're going to cap the conversation. The politicians admit, at least on Murtala's side, that they are the problem. They are a majority of the problem. And in solving the problem, we need them to do the right things. It's interesting. I'll leave you with this to think as our viewers. The United Nations Convention Against Corruption is the only legally binding universal anti-corruption instrument. And guess what? Ghana is signed on to it. But are we living up to it? That's the big question.
Under this government.
The verdict is out there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Our guests this morning have been Murtala Muhammad, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, and Dr. Dixon Kisi, Member of Parliament for Anya Sewutuom. Tomorrow, let's do this again. Have a beautiful day.